Hello fellow humans and welcome to another episode of me having a look at your replays. So let's get into it. If you want to submit your replays, join my Discord server. Link to that is in the description. And as always, don't forget, like and subscribe. Let's go right for it. So here we go with the first replay and a Grille 15, and this is Lamau. So thanks for sending those in. Just join Discord, put it in the clips channel. I might have a look at it, I might also not. Now, the first thing obviously here is, why are you stopping? For what? I mean, to type in chat? Why? There is zero reason to do that. Just focus on your own game. If you are distracted by chat, just turn it off. And don't bother with that, because otherwise, I mean, like, bruh, there's no point arguing over pointless things that don't really matter in a game. So, yeah, that's not nice. Don't like seeing that, especially when it's not a really useful discussion in the first place. So I wouldn't do that. If you are bothered by what people type in chat, just turn it off. Obviously, it's playing the Grille here, and a lot of people are going to just go camp with it, which, I mean, is probably what you are better off doing if you're not very experienced at the game, and if you're new to the game. Showed a bit earlier there, but you can play the Grille aggressively enough to, like, turn it into somewhat of a medium tank, so that is not too bad. Now, at this point, you're not giving the lead where you're supposed to. Like, if you're at the back of the vehicle and is moving forward, you're gonna miss. So you want to ideally have it lead at a point where most of the tank is covered if they move. So, like, go in the middle. If they move forward, obviously, go to the front of them, because even if they move, you still hit the back of them if they go forward, and same way the other way around. So, I really don't like seeing that. I really don't like that. That's just dumb. That right there is just dumb. So don't do that. So now, obviously, a pretty decent position here with the Grille. Now, you could take a peek at the VK90. He is going to do that, so that is going to be very helpful. VK is not looking where he's going, he's just going straight on, and that's how you get yourself shot at by a Grille and a 183. You got very lucky against the 183, but, you know, that's how it goes. So now, Sheridan's trying his luck over on that side. Max roll, it's very nice to have. Obviously, do your crew skills properly. It's very important. If you don't do them properly, you'll end up with the same one on max level and everything else being horrible. So check out your crew skills. What I would do with crew skills, I would train everything to level 4, and then train out repairs instead of the ones that are important first, and then go to the less important ones later. Mentor is also pretty useful to get more XP going. But yeah, have a look at your crew skills. They are going to boost your tank massively if you do them properly. Now, going for it, 183, pretty risky, but obviously the 183 does have the turret at the back. The Grille has as well. So if you peek against tanks that have the turret at the back, you do have an advantage, obviously, because they'll have to get their entire front of the vehicle at you first, and then they'll be able to shoot. Now, 4k damage, you know, pretty solid so far. The VK is gone AFK, so this is essentially free damage right here. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe his mum called him for lunch or something like that. Yeah, okay. You only do that when the enemies are actually toxic to annoy them. But normally, there's just no point in doing that. So, and again, typing. You could have just moved up and took a shot at the 60p. Now he's gone. So, again, lost damage there because of it with typing. No, that's pointless, right? Like, you wanna play the game. This is World of Tanks Blitz. You play the tank. It's not typing simulator. If you want to play typing simulator, play damn typing simulator. I don't know. Or you make a girl angry and you're gonna get paragraphs of thousands of words back. That's the way you're gonna get the conversation. No, but just don't type unless you have to. And if you have to give information to your team, like when someone's alive at the end, it's like, you know what hit points they have. You know he has 1,000 hit points left. Write that. Have useful communication in the game rather than, yeah, pointless things. And now the 60p is unaware of his surroundings, which is a lot of people these days. And he's also not at a clan. That is one of the indicators to find out whether someone's not a great player. You know, if someone's not using a camouflage, if someone's not in a clan, if someone's a player underscore, if someone's using an emoji avatar, for example, it tends to be below the average of other players. Because those are things that you're either uninterested in the game, you know, you can't even be bothered to join a account, you can't even be bothered to pick a proper name. You don't know that camo brings you a benefit, or you're 12 years old if you use an emoji avatar. So those kind of things, they can definitely help to identify whether someone tends to not be as good of a player or not. And obviously, if someone has like a raiding battle avatar or something like that, they're gonna be a tryhard. So there's two ways to approach a tryhard. Basically, either you ignore them till the end of the battle and then you go at them, ideally hoping that they have already lost some HP fighting, or you gang up on them, you take 2-3 teammates and then jump on them so they got no chance to win. Please don't do that to me though, I like being alive. So yeah, 6.9k damage, that is pretty solid. You could have even done more there if you wouldn't have spent the entire time typing. But, relatively good game there, and, yeah. Less typing, more shooting. Could have been 8k. Anyway, on to the next one. And the next one is the Onion Sticks, and like a true alpha male of our species, he has gone for the ducky avatar, obviously. Now, what isn't very alpha is that he is going to C, which is what you don't want to do, because ideally you want to go to A, especially if you are in a T125, because it's made for hull down. That's what it does. If you play on a flat ground, you defeat the entire point of the vehicle, and you're way better off with an IS-7. Now, given the enemies only have 2 mediums, well, that team has 3, so it would even be more helpful to go out there and completely dominate them and not be sitting here in the city. However, it's still going to be a good game, because even bad choices don't mean bad games if the enemy team is worse. Now, what the medium's doing out there as well is they're just not going for it. Now, the point is here, you always want to have as big of an advantage as possible, obviously. Now, if you go out there, it's 4 versus 2, not 3 versus 2. An E5 is definitely fast enough to get them. Something like a VKB, yeah, not really. But you always want to have as much of an advantage as possible, so you can overwhelm the enemies, because then, if you're in a 7 versus 5, 5 versus 7, you are going to have a absolutely massive advantage. Now, the opposite really is happening here, is that the heavies are getting wrecked, and the mediums are kind of, I mean, the Sheridan got himself completely destroyed, I don't know how, and the 4 peaks into a 183, that's... Now, what you want to do if you fight against the 183, ideally, is you always want to have your teammates peek into it. Don't peek into them, let your teammates peek, basically. Because then he's going to be reloading for 20 seconds, and then boom. If you're in an endgame situation, the one that can take a shot should be the one that peaks, because obviously keeping a gun alive is at that point more important than keeping hit points alive, right? Because the more guns you have, the more hit points you can do. If you've got one guy alive on 1,000 hit points, is less effective than having 2 guys on 500 hit points. And given they're somewhat competent, because if you have 240% alive at 500 hit points, you're lost. So, most of the time. Now, at this point, the heavies on the enemy team has been completely throwing it away. And Onion is doing a great job here at staying alive, you know, moving around dynamically. And not just sitting in the same spot, but moving around, you know, going to the enemy side, going back now. So that is pretty good done there. And the enemies have thrown massively. Now, obviously, it worked out here amazingly. But ideally, you would want to go out in the field. That's what the E5 does better at. And, you know, if you have semi-competent mediums, which is pretty much very rare, then that is the better option to go, because the mediums are the types of tanks that take the space. If you don't have the space, you don't win, basically. And the more space you can get, the more space you have, the more of a chance you have to win, because obviously you don't have 2 guns. You can only shoot in one direction. So you ideally want to have all the enemies in front of you. And you want to be as around the enemy as possible, while still being able to cover each other, obviously, because if you're completely spread out, you can't do anything, because one side's going to get pushed and you're dead. Now, peeking at WT was a bit risky. Now, you probably, at this point, you know where the WT is, so you don't want to peek into him. You got 900 hit points. However, 640 alpha damage, you don't really want to peek into that. The FV is not a one-shot, so you want to ideally take care of that. FV just shot. I would use adrenaline here you know, just to make sure. Then again, he crashed into the house, so it doesn't really matter. But you want to take out the mobility as fast as possible. You know, you can't fight that WT with an FE422 running around you and fighting you from the back. And now, here, turning in a bit too far. If you would have turned in more towards the VK, you could have gotten. E5 has pretty decent hull armor. You can use that side-scraping angle to maybe have the WT shoot into your tracks. So, maybe turned a bit too early there, because obviously then he has a free shot at the lower plate. And about, even if he has the intelligence of a cactus, he is gonna normally be able to still hit that. Now, you could have shot HE there. If an enemy Grille or a WT, they do have that equipment thingy that gives less HE damage. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Still shoot HE, because you still do more damage. So now, at this point, the WT is, well, proving that he's not very fast and only gets the jump on him. So that is very nice there. But it's still played from the city. So minus points for that. No cookie, but 6k damage. So that is a very good result. And the enemy team has gloriously thrown away. And the Onion capitalized off it greatly. So that is not too bad. And now, we'll get into a replay. That is the exact opposite. We get into the third one and also the last one. And this is going to be a fast one. So we're going to have a look here. Sushi roll. Didn't I feature in my last video as well? I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be a very interesting one. So, put your replays in Discord. I don't watch them all, obviously, but if you describe them well, if you make them look interesting from your description and from the battle results, I'll have a look at them and I'll feature them. So, here we go. Obviously, going to the good side on this map. That is what you should do. Heavies are just going all the way out there to the wrong side. Remember what I said in the E5 battle? You want to be able to have the control and you want to be able to cover. If you're all sitting in one tiny corner like that, you neither have control nor you have any types of cover or surrounding fire, so essentially that position is completely utterly useless, even for one tank. Now the enemy team, they're like, hey, they look like noobs, we'll push them, and they are. So you can't avoid horrible games, because there are horrible people in this world, and sometimes you're gonna have to come across them. Like certain Blitz YouTubers when you accidentally get them recommended, but that's another story. So, he's sitting here in a pretty solid spot, you know, trying to get some damage while their team is undoubtedly getting wrecked. Because if you have a team like that, there isn't much you can do. If I have a team like that, I immediately switch from, I'm trying to win this to, I'm trying to get as much damage possible before I die. That's... could have aimed there a bit better. But that is the mentality that I immediately switch to. If I have a team like this that goes to a corner, I am immediately switching from how do I win this to how do I do as much damage as possible before I lose. Because you might still end up winning it, but most of the time you simply don't. Everyone's going to have bad games. If someone tells you they never have bad games, they're simply lying to you. And now, you know, 2 minutes and the entire team is dead. And there's nothing you can do about a team like this that is just completely engrossed incompetent. And even in a situation like that where 6 people are charging you, there is absolutely nothing you can do about that. Now, ideally, obviously, you don't want to... You could have taken a shot at the IS-4 there. That would have been the best option, but there isn't much more you can do. If you have a team like that that just completely throws away... There is not much that you can do, unfortunately. And that is just sad. Now, you don't want to get yourself mad by this. Because if you have the players on your team that aren't really interested in playing the game well or even doing well, I mean, or even if you have bad positioning, then still, look, this is a reroll. Still got wrecked because he was in a horrible position. That's how much map positioning and map control matters. You don't want to do that. If you get wrecked, you get wrecked. So, play, take the map control, don't go city, don't type in chat. That's the lesson for this video, and hope you enjoyed, and I gotta get more funny. But anyway, check out the links in the description if you want to support the channel. Check out the memberships as well, and see you for the next one. Goodbye.